Section 13, Professional Conduct, Arizona Market Introduction, from License Renewal to Professional Responsibility. In Section 12, we discussed why keeping a real estate license active is essential. Now we move into what happens once that license is active. Professional conduct. A license gives an agent permission to practice, but professional conduct determines whether that agent is practicing correctly. In Arizona, professional conduct is not just about being polite. It includes fiduciary duties, disclosure, competence, reasonable care, written consent, conflicts of interest, and protecting the client's transaction. The core rule, R428-1101. Under AAC R428-1101, a licensee owes a fiduciary duty to the client and must protect and promote the client's interests. At the same time, the licensee must deal fairly with all other parties to the transaction. That balance is important. You advocate for your client, but you cannot mislead the other side. The story, the open house problem. Imagine a listing agent is holding an open house. A buyer walks in, loves the home, and says, "Can you write the offer for me?" At that moment, the agent must slow down. The agent already represents the seller. If the agent is going to represent both sides, both parties must understand the relationship and give proper written consent. This is where many problems begin. The agent may think, "I'm just helping." But if representation is not properly disclosed, the agent may create a conflict of interest and a possible violation. Disclosure of material information. A licensee must disclose in writing to all other parties any information the licensee possesses that materially or adversely affects the consideration to be paid by any party. This includes information that the seller or lessor may be unable to perform, that the buyer or lessee may be unable to perform, any known adverse material fact or material defect in the property, and the existence of a lien or encumbrance. Best practice. If the information could affect someone's decision, do not hide it. Do not delay the transaction. A licensee must perform required acts expeditiously and cannot delay performance intentionally or through neglect. A licensee also cannot allow a dispute with another licensee to jeopardize, delay, or interfere with the client's transaction. Example, two agents argue over compensation. That dispute should not be used to hold up the buyer's closing or punish the client. Conflicts of interest must be disclosed. A licensee cannot act directly or indirectly in a transaction without informing the other parties in writing, before a binding agreement, of any present or prospective interest or conflict. This includes when the licensee is acting as a principal, when a buyer or seller is an immediate family member, when the party is connected to the employing broker, or when the licensee or family member has a financial interest beyond normal compensation. Compensation and multiple representation. A licensee cannot accept compensation from or represent more than one party without the prior written consent of all parties. A licensee also cannot accept compensation, rebates, or other consideration connected to goods or services related to the transaction without the person's prior written acknowledgement. Best practice. If money, referral value, rebates, or benefits are involved, disclose it in writing. Competence and reasonable care. A licensee's services must meet the standards of practice and competence recognized in the professional community for that real estate discipline. If the matter is outside the agent's field of competence, the agent should get help from a competent professional or disclose the lack of expertise in writing before the client chooses to continue. Example, an agent who normally sells residential homes should be careful before advising on complex commercial, land, water, zoning, or property management issues without proper assistance. Possession before closing. A licensee cannot permit or facilitate occupancy in someone's real property by a third party without prior written authorization from the owner. A licensee also cannot deliver possession before closing unless expressly instructed by the owner. Pre-possession and post-possession can create major risk. Best practice. Recommend that clients seek legal, insurance, tax, and accounting advice before agreeing to possession outside normal closing. Professional conduct is where everything in this course comes together. Disclosure, representation, competence, documentation, communication, and client protection. If Section 12 taught us that an active license is required to practice, Section 13 teaches us that professional conduct is required to practice safely. Online discussion question 1. Why must an agent disclose who they represent before helping a buyer at an open house? Answer, because the agent may already represent the seller, and any change or dual representation requires proper written disclosure and consent. Question 2. Why should a commission dispute never delay a client's transaction? Answer, because R428-1101 prohibits a licensee from allowing a controversy with another licensee to jeopardize, delay, or interfere with the client's transaction. Question 3. What should an agent do when a transaction issue is outside their expertise? Answer. The agent should seek assistance from a competent professional or disclose the lack of expertise in writing and recommend appropriate professional counsel.